I've, 34M, been married to Alice, 33F, for 7 years now. The last 2 years our relationship is not in good terms and Alice being extremely closed off. I tried to start date nights, but she would cancel them. Tried to start couples therapy, and again, she would cancel appointments day of. I did, however, start independent therapy, which has helped a lot. Overall, she has been extremely frigid. I would get home and she would just tear me apart, judge everything from how crooked my shoes are in the shoe cubby to how salty dinner is when I cook it. And before you ask, yes, she does work. I also do the majority of the cooking. I find cooking relaxing/therapeutic. After 2 years of this, I finally decided to talk to a lawyer and get my options. Alice seemed as miserable as I do, so I talked to a lawyer about how a straight down the middle split divorce would look. Basically, we would have to sell the house, each one keeps a car, and we split the equity of the house, each of us keeping our own retirement accounts. I am fine with this, and I asked the lawyer to start writing it up. Alice in the past had some issues with her temper, so I made sure to record the conversation on my phone, just in case. Well, 2 months ago was when I sat her down and told her I was thinking and neither of us have been happy for a long time, we should just pull off the band-aid and get divorced. Alice then shocked me with her first question. How long did you know? I didn't know what she thought I knew, but I played along and said since the beginning. You knew for half a year and didn't say anything? I have to say, I was very emotionally divorced from this woman already, partially thanks to a good amount of therapy, so I kept playing along. I asked why him of all people. She then spilled her guts that Frank was there for her and everyone else in the office found him charming. Frank was her boss, so now I had more. We danced around more and she handed her phone over to me defeated, thinking that I already knew the worst. I took screenshots of their conversations and forwarded to my email. Alice wasn't crying, she wasn't begging, but she did act sad. She packed up a bag of stuff and left. I took the recording and the screenshots and sent them to my lawyer. After a brief phone call with my lawyer, we decided to not go with the clean split, but instead I keep the house, the cars, and whatever is in the joint accounts. Papers were drafted and sent to her, which she has not contested, with her thinking I had a mountain of evidence of her infidelity. Divorce is now underway, with just the clock running until the final decree. The problem starts when my sister Sam 31F bumped into Alice in the grocery store. I talked to Sam about the marital problems and how I wanted a clean split. I didn't, however, tell her about the adultery. Alice told her that she cheated and Sam was confused. Sam called me last night, asking if I knew Alice was cheating when I got a lawyer. I told her, no I didn't. Alice volunteered the information when I asked for a divorce and I played along to get more info. Sam said she was disappointed in me using mind games to trick Alice into agreeing to a less than even split in the divorce. Sam said it was stunts like these that are borderline gaslighting. So, I got to ask, should I have kept with the even split divorce? Edited to add, we live in a state that allows both no-fault divorce and fault divorce, and there is a prenup with a cheating clause involved. I originally sought to do a no-fault even split, basically wash our hands of this sham, get on with our lives. We're not going to try an unrealistic 90/10ths either. In the end, it will be more 65-35. She had a lawyer read and agree to the settlement, which she had signed. Like I said, now we're waiting out the clock. Our state has provisions on cool-off periods and sheet. I didn't have papers ready or drafted when I talked to Alice. With how miserable she was, I figured she would want the split as well. No idea why my sister is so hung up on the dishonesty I had to trick Alice. Comment 1. NTA. I'd flip it around on your sister. So if your husband was cheating and it was obvious you were both miserable in your marriage, and you confronted him and told him you wanted a divorce and he asked you how long did you know, then confessed to cheating on you for the past 6 months or more, that you'd be fine with a 50-50 splits of all marital assets? Wouldn't you want to get more because he's the one who stepped out of the marriage? Yeah, I don't think she'd be so fair if that was the case and that happened to her. Comment 2. NTA. As a woman who was cheated on, I wish I had the evidence you do. I got it, but after all was said and done, why should she get half when she is the reason the marriage fell apart? She is the one who cheated, not you. So no, your sister seems to be backing your soon-to-be ex simply because she's a woman. Comment 3. NTA. It's a different situation, going from hey we're both unhappy let's part ways to discovering that she cheated and has been unfaithful for quite some time. I would imagine you'll end up settling somewhere closer to an even split, but you might as well go for more and give yourself some negotiating room. My husband, 42M, and I, 41F, tried to have children for 13 years before we accepted that we were never going to have it happen for us. We spent a lot of time hoping and trying different things and nothing worked. I was 35 when we decided to come to terms with our life as a child-free couple. We sold our old house, downsizing considerably, and we started changing how we lived our life. We had devoted so much time to preparing to be a family with children that we didn't really know what we wanted now that it was no longer in the cards. Then, just after my 40th birthday, I discovered I was pregnant. It was a huge shock, and what was even more surprising was the baby was healthy when I went for my first scan. But I was afraid, we both were, so we waited until I was 18 weeks to tell people. I didn't really show until I was about 21 weeks, so that made it easy to hide. We announced and people were thrilled for us. All our siblings already had children who were 9 and older, so this was the first baby born into the family in a while. We got asked about names and whether we would have a name reel or baby shower with a name reveal. We decided to keep the name to ourselves until he was born. Something special and a surprise for people. Most people understood, but it came to our attention recently that one of my husband's sisters, sister-in-law, was not happy about any of this. She didn't like that we kept the pregnancy to ourselves for a while and disliked it even more that we didn't share the name. She brought this up at Christmas for the first time and surprised the whole family. She brought it up to my husband on 3 separate occasions after it, and then she brought it up to me 4 days ago. She told me we left our families out when this was just as big a deal for them as it was for us. She said everyone had wanted us to have a baby too, and how could we cut them out like that? She also claimed we could have gotten feedback and blessings from family members on his name, which is Hawthorne for people who will ask. I told her that the news came as such a surprise and we worried and wanted to come to terms and get to what we felt was a safe point before telling people. She argued we needed our family if something went wrong. Then she said there was still no excuse for the name. That the name was kind of odd and she would have liked us to pick a more classic name, like James or George. I told her I understood that everyone had their own taste. But we were getting one chance to name a child and one chance to experience parenthood, and we wanted to make the most of it. I said we never did it to hurt anyone, but we wanted to do what felt right to us. She told me that was what my husband said and it was lame, especially to defend myself that way when it was something that the whole family are experiencing. She told me we just wanted to leave everyone out and we should have known better. Comment 1. NTA. And next time she brings it up, you and your husband need to clearly tell her that when you choose to tell people is your decision alone and she was never entitled to have a say in the name of your child. You are done discussing it with her. If she brings it up again, get up and leave. She sounds exhausting and like she always needs to be the center of attention. Comment 2. NTA. Your sister-in-law is a giant a-hole. While it's great for your family that you got pregnant, it is in no way happening to them. This is your experience, and after years of trying and eventually giving up to find out you actually were pregnant would have been incredibly hard to come to terms with. Especially to get to a place where you were comfortable enough to tell anyone. I only started announcing my first around 18 weeks because I was so worried something would go wrong and I had no history of issues. Everything you did was completely understandable. Your sister-in-law is a control freak who seems to think her opinion is the only right one. No decent person would ever comment negatively on someone's child's name. Comment 3. NTA, this is your pregnancy, and if you guys wanted to leave everyone out, that is your right. The entitlement she feels about your only child and pregnancy is astonishing. You should have told us the name earlier so we can give you feedback. We didn't want your feedback and that's why we didn't ask for it. Is not a difficult concept to grasp. My dad passed away when I, F16, was like 3. We lived in a house that my grandparents own and they agreed to let my mom and I live there rent-free. Over the years, whenever my mom dated, I tried to spend the nights she had guests over at my grandparents' house. When I was 10, my grandfather renovated the basement to make me my own kind of apartment. I have my own bathroom, kitchen, and living room to go with my bedroom. My mom met a guy last year and it got serious. He moved in with his 2 kids. Which is fine by me. My mom deserves to be happy and have someone in her life. There are 3 bedrooms upstairs, so it is perfect. 1 for them and 1 for each of his kids. Everything was going according to plan until the kids asked where I was staying. I said I lived on the basement. They made a joke about me loving in my mom's basement. I invited them down to play Mario Kart to be sociable and to show off, if I'm being completely honest. I have a couch my uncle gave me and my dad's old lazy boy in the living room. The recliner is only for me and all my friends know that. The kids started complaining that it wasn't fair that I got all this room to myself. One tried sitting in my chair even after I told her that it was only for me. I settled that immediately. It's mine. After a few races where I demolished them, I said it was time for them to go back upstairs. They said no. I called my mom to come get them. Over the course of the next week, my mom started hinting that maybe my living room should be a common area. I said no. She started insisting. I said no. She has a key to my door. I never locked my door unless she had guests. I did start locking it when Dan and his kids moved in. I came home from school and found the kids in my living room. They had also gone into my room. And they were eating my snacks. That I pay for myself. I yelled and told them to GTFO. I called for my mom to explain why they were there. She said that she decided it wasn't fair that I got almost a third of the house to myself and that my TV and gaming systems should be shared. I said fuck that. She got really upset with me and said it was a done deal, so deal with it. My grandfather and he and my uncles came and got me. And all the things that matter to me. Including my recliner. He told my mom that she needed to start paying rent if I wasn't going to be living there. I have a bedroom at my grandparents' house, but I miss my area. My mom is trying to get me to go back so they can save money to get their own place. Yeah, right. I'm not that dumb. She said that I need to stop being a brat and behave like an adult. I said I was living like an adult until you let those kids onto my area without permission. She tried to say she could do whatever she wanted in her house. Sometimes I think she forgets it wasn't my dad's house and she didn't inherit it. I feel a little guilty about this because my mom is actually pretty cool and I hate that this is causing strain on her relationship. Comment 1, NTA. I'm glad you're standing firm, because your mother has absolutely no right to your living area, your things, your snacks, etc. They were provided to you from your grandparents, not from her. Unfortunately, some people can't be reasoned with, as you found out. You're probably going to find yourself going low contact when you're an adult. That's okay. You can love her from a distance, and not become the person who supplies the deficits in her life. She's an adult, she should pay her own way, not steal from her daughter. Comment 3. I have to wonder if mom has told her boyfriend that the house is hers and he thinks she owns it. Then she acts like she owns it to save face so that he doesn't know she is lying. Then the grandparents help her daughter escape and mom and boyfriend are suddenly stuck paying rent. 2 working adults should be able to afford rent. I have to wonder if mom's boyfriend isn't with mom just for a free place to live.
My husband, 41, and I, 40, have 5 daughters: Avery, 13, Bella, 7, Cassie, 6, Daria, 4, and Emily, 1.5. The 3 middle girls are good friends with an autistic girl, Jenny, 6, who regularly comes over to play with them. We've also included Jenny in plenty of family outings, ranging from the beach to bowling to amusement parks. Jenny's mom has done the same for my girls, only she takes them with her one at a time as she's also autistic and not used to caring for multiple children since Jenny's an only child. We had Jenny over for a sleepover this weekend and took her out for lunch. Jenny and Daria ordered the same meal, chicken tenders and French fries, and I noticed that Daria finished her chicken before eating her fries, and Jenny ate all but one before moving on to her fries. About halfway through the meal, Avery had to go to the bathroom and offered to take the younger kids with her if they needed to go. Bella, Cassie, Daria, and Jenny went to the bathroom with Avery while my husband and I stayed at the table with Emily. While the older girls were gone, I saw Jenny still hadn't eaten her last chicken tender and, assuming she wasn't going to eat it, gave it to Emily, who ate a little more than half of it before her sisters and Jenny returned. After sitting down, Jenny noticed her chicken was gone and asked what happened to it. I told her, "You weren't eating it, so Emily ate it." She said she was saving it for last and looked like she was about to have a meltdown, which I still have yet to deal with in public, so I took the little piece of chicken Emily didn't eat and gave it back to her, but she refused to eat it because it had baby germs on it. When Jenny's mom came to pick her up later that day, she told her mother about it. Her mom called me inconsiderate and said I should have waited for her to return and asked her before giving it away and told me that she often saves certain foods for last too, must be an autistic thing, before having Jenny say goodbye to my girls and leaving. My husband and I talked about this and he said he agrees with Jenny's mom's point about asking her first. I think she overreacted, and the kids haven't brought it up. Now that the weekend's over. Comment 1. YTA. Not only did you give someone's food away, but you also attribute to her saving food to her autism. As someone not on the spectrum, I save bites of food for last because they look the best and I save the best bite for last. Comment 2. YTA for giving a child's food away and also a big one for saying, must be an autistic thing. Have you never heard the term, save the best for last? Why not purchase more food if your child was still hungry? Comment 3. Exactly. Putting your hands on someone's food and then expecting them to take it back half-eaten is so out of touch. Labeling it an autistic issue shows your ignorance and bias. Learn to do better. A lot better.